Coming up on DFE News, the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Also, another school shooting, this one near Denver. The suspect fascinated with the Columbine shooting of 1999. And the government is supposed to guard the rights of citizens, but what happens when the government tries to take your property? Urban cowboy Brannu Fulton joins us to share his story. We've got news for you, those stories and more right now on DFE News. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on DFE News, news done right. I'm Jeff Kirk. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment so everyone gets to see DFE News. So much is going on. Let's get right to it. The big story today, authorities have arrested the man they say shot and killed conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. At a news conference with the FBI Friday morning, Utah Governor Spencer Cox announced 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was arrested in Washington County, Utah, several hours away from the site of the assassination of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University in Orem. Cox said authorities received a tip from a family friend that Robinson had confessed or implied his involvement. When officers spoke to Robinson's roommate, they discovered messages Robinson had made on Discord that implied he wasn't working alone. Here's Governor Cox.
Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel.
Police had previously recovered what they say is the murder weapon, a .30-06 rifle, which was wrapped in a towel, along with shell casings inscribed with messages such as, "Hey fascist, catch." While the investigation continues, there's been no shortage of commentary on the events with strong emotions on both sides. Right off the bat, left-wing media outlets and pundits tried to downplay the assassination, either blaming President Trump for our current state of social unrest, or most frequently implying Kirk got what he deserved because of his viewpoints. The strangest take was courtesy of Matthew Dowd of MSNBC, who said it could be someone firing a gun in the air to celebrate the event. Dowd has since been fired. On the right, reactions were mixed, with many comments blaming left-wing media, who for over a decade have called Trump and anyone who supports him a Nazi and a fascist. This, they say, has created an environment where it's not just okay, but encouraged to take the life of someone who they consider to clearly be a fascist. Who would say such things?
Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" Catch!
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
The last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
In an effort to honor Kirk, President Trump announced he would be awarding him the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. It may have been overshadowed in the news, but the same day Charlie Kirk was assassinated, a school shooting in Colorado left 2 students injured and the shooter dead. The shooter, who was a student at Evergreen High School west of Denver, took his own life after shooting 2 other students at the school Wednesday. One of the injured students was released from the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, but the other remains in critical condition. Jackie Kelly, public information officer for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, said the suspect roamed the campus looking for additional targets, but was thwarted by locked classroom doors. When law enforcement officers arrived, the suspect had already taken his own life. The victims' names may not be as well known as Charlie Kirk, but God loves all his children, and they and their families deserve our prayers just as much. Well, imagine working hard, saving a lot of money, buying your own property, achieving your dream of raising and breaking horses, only for the federal government to step in, arrest you, and try for years to take your land. That's what the urban horseman Brannu Fulton has been facing. He joins us now with more. So, Brannu, you actually have a new documentary movie coming out. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, the documentary is basically my whole journey, where I grew up at in Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, how I got into horses, my transition into Atlanta, college, the nightlife as a DJ for a few celebrities, and how I chose to walk away from that life to achieve my passion for horses that I gained when I was in Brooklyn, New York, when my grandfather would take me riding when he could. And in the midst of that journey, being able to get my own land and realizing the same reason why I left the DJing, because of the politics and, not all humans, but it's always gatekeepers that in the horse world, it's the same thing. And owning property is the same thing. So it's a full understanding of who I am, what I'm about, seeing my day-to-day commitment, all my cases, the turnout of my cases. And I think people, when they see it, they'll be able to see if they come into the table with no judgment, with an open heart, with willing to understand the facts, not their opinion, they will see that I'm no different than any other rancher would experience on his land. So only thing different about me is that I'm starting from the bottom. It's not passed down, it's not generational. I just bought raw land and just working it with one man. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think we actually have a promo for the documentary. If we can go ahead and play that.
okay.
Buy land, they can't make any more.
When you got land, you're in a different game.
Just looking at it from, the past 100, 150 years, black land ownership has declined significantly.
I got offered $3 million for this property twice, and I turned it down. Farmland in a city, you're like the outdated version of where we're going.
Eminent domain is the power of an entity, usually government, to acquire private property and put it to a public use.
You can play hardball all day, but if we can't come to a negotiation or agreement, the government has the right to go in and say, hey, we're doing this for the health and safety of our residents, and then you won't get anything.
Decline prosecution. What do I need to have an attorney for? It's no case between me and him. It's over. Where's my property? I was on house arrest for 6 months with an ankle bracelet and had an $80,000 bond.
I don't understand why he was arrested.
So, Brannu, you mentioned your legal cases, and then you mentioned them again in the video. Can you tell us a little bit about what those cases were all about?
So when I first got the property, and if I'm being too long-winded, just let me know. When I first got the property, as soon as I got it in 2016, immediately Department of Agriculture start coming to the property. I used to be at the ranch next door to me, and there's no fence or nothing between us. So I lived over there for about 2 years, and I was able to get this property. Well, the people who called on me was the two sisters that own the ranch next door. And most people say, oh, they must have been white. No, they were brown. They were black women, you know what I'm saying? So I want the world to know this, that what I'm going through is beyond, I believe, a color thing. It's just about have and have nots, evil spirits, and those who are jealous and envious of what I have. So, like I said, Department of Ag came to the property. As soon as I got it, they evaluated everything. Very unorthodox situation, but they closed their case against me. They said, well, technically he doesn't have to have a barn because he got so much trees that's considered shelter. And And remember, I brought the land raw, nothing on it. And I used barbed wire, which is legal by the state of Georgia. If you go out west, you see barbed wire all the time. So in a place like this, who gets a Disney version in their mind, right? They used to seeing the white picket fence and things, but that's not authentic ranching. If you go out west, Wyoming, Idaho, Nebraska, you will see barbed wire fencing around cattle in a cattle pasture, and it's legal. So Department of Ag dropped it. What the complaints on me, and then Fulton County Animal Control start pursuing. They will come in, evaluate. Never wrote me a ticket from January to July. They never wrote me a ticket. They would just come, do their welfare check. Hey, we got a complaint. Hey, we got a complaint. All right, come in, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I explained
So
to them
you
what.
cooperated with
Yeah.
all the visits and everyone that came. You were cooperated with them, and everything checked out.
Mind you, there's no fence here, so it's still wide open. Look, it's wide open to get in there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have no barriers to even block anybody. So they just ride in there. I don't care if you ride in there. I'm doing what every rancher would do in the beginning, try to work the land and do what he got to do. So they would just come and say, "Hey, we got a complaint." They'll do their investigation. Let me see the horses. Look at them. All right, we're gonna close. We're gonna close the case. So they kept doing that, but I kept doing an open records request. In the state of Georgia, you could do an open records request. So the open records request, I knew that would give me all my documentation. I was doing a paper trail. I've learned through the years of dealing with horses, you got to keep a paper trail. Nevertheless, I told them about one of the horses here were not mine. They saw that horse. They evaluated that horse. They said, well, if he's on pasture, and you got enough pasture. It's about 28 acres here. And I have Camp Creek. The actual creek comes through the property. So the whole property is bordered by flowing water. The deer, the coyote, the otters, the raccoons, everything drinks out the creek. So they said, hey, as long as he got access to grass and water, we cool. They closed the case. The last day they came and did the evaluation was on July 15th, 2016. Closed the case again. Everything's good. And then on July 19th is when they raided the place. But the only way they got in was because prior to that, Fulton County Code Enforcement wrote me a bogus ticket to come to court on July 19th, 2016. When I went to court in July 19th, 2016, they had me sit in the courtroom for like an hour. And then the lady next door who called the police on me, who owned the ranch next door, she was in there, but I didn't know why she was in there, Once I got out and I got arrested, I figured out that she was there to pretty much, I guess, be like eyes on me that I'm in the courtroom. So basically, they used the opportunity to get into the ranch. So once again, when I got out of jail, I did the police report, open records. The open records report said that the owner of this property that I'm standing on right now, that the owner called on me and said I was squatting, which was, I brought the property, right?
Yeah.
But they was claiming the property. So it was a very deep situation. They tried to put a lawsuit against me. I proved that the property was mine because I did, of course, I got title insurance when I got the property. I did the boundary survey. I did all the proper procedures.
Yeah, you had the paperwork.
Yeah, and Fulton County literally took on their tax assessors, they took a parcel the size of a penny and called it 28 acres, and took a parcel the size of a silver dollar and called it 16 acres, which is the ranch next door. They literally switched our names. They put to make it seem like, and presented that paperwork to me. And I'm like, you could just look at the size of the parcels. You can't change the geography, the aerial topography, right?
Right.
It's a penny should not be bigger than a silver dollar.
Right.
But
So
nevertheless,
are those cases still
cases are all,
affecting you today?
No. It's proven. I've been here. It's almost 10 years I've been here. So I proved that I was the owner. I had the title insurance attorney email Fulton County and they squashed it in one day. But they were trying to play my intelligence. I guess they didn't think did my due diligence, and thought they would just con me out of it in a sense. But it's cool. It was a lesson learned that I just never thought government. I never looked at government like that. I looked at government with a lot of, from where I come from and how I was raised, that the government is upstanding. They only pursue people that are really out here doing harm. And I didn't know the
Right.
harm that I was doing was being a livestock owner and a large property owner in their town. So I
Yeah.
had no idea that.
So let's go back to where you grew up. You say you're from New York.
Yeah.
How did you get into? You don't find many horses in New York. How did you get into your love of horses?
Oh yeah. So my grandfather was a sergeant major, and
Mm.
he always told me that he wanted me to understand that Brownsville. I don't know if you know much about Brownsville. It's a unique neighborhood. It's the same neighborhood Shannon Briggs come from, Mike Tyson, Zab Judah, and they was a stable not too far from Brown and my neighborhood in Brownsville. It was the Black Cowboys barn, which is over there by off of Linden Boulevard and Conduit. They still exist now, but they moved to Queens. And then you had Jamaica Bay Riding Academy, which is more of an English riding, a nice facility, like 400 acres on the beach. It's called Jamaica Bay Riding Academy. It's like going to Coney Island. So that's how I got introduced to horses, through my grandfather, trying to expand my mind that Brownsville is not the world. It's a bigger world out here that you can experience and enjoy. And when he took me, as soon as he pulled up in there, the smell, the arena, seeing the sand, seeing the riders, it just resonated with me instantly.
That's great. It's something that those two worlds are so different that can make a really big impact. So then, how did you transition from New York down to Fulton County in Georgia?
Oh, so I was raised, my family's, they're in the church. I went to private school mostly all my life. I went to public school for 2 years. I went to private school since kindergarten. I went to Baptist school, Christian school, and Catholic high school. And did 2 years of public high school. So, I was just taught that you go to school, you get a degree, you get a master's degree, a doctorate degree, and you get hired by a company, and life is going to be great. You get the big house, you don't have to worry about bills, money is there. But as I pursued it and I was on my own, I realized that that's not what my spirit want, right? That's what my family, basically my mom, was pushing on me. My grandfather never forced me to go into the military. Um, but my mom had a standard for me. And I understood why, because that's what she knew. And once I came to Atlanta, I went to Clark, Atlanta, I started to figure out who I was, outside of what my household was telling me. Because I never was raised by my parents. My parents had me in high school. So I was raised in multiple homes growing up. I just started to tap into me. I started to listen to that voice when most people would say God, right? I started listening to that my conscience that was telling me very strongly, and I wouldn't ignore it. I would feel it, but I just didn't know how to go about it, because I'm like, how do I do it? So I just started pursuing my DJ thing, because that's something I knew.
Mm.
And as I progressed in that, the nightlife wasn't really fulfilling me either. The things I was starting to have to encounter politically in the nightlife, dealing with promoters. And I don't drink and smoke. I'm no better than nobody else, but I never did a drug in my life. And I just would go DJ, and it's just, Biz Markie was my mentor, so I used to roll with him. So I had access to a lot of great parties, and being around a lot of wealthy people. I've been in the Playboy Mansion with him when he DJed for the ESPY Awards, Magic Johnson events in LA. So it just wasn't making me feel like I thought it would make me feel, right? And I'm hanging around.
Yeah.
Biz Markie is like a hip hop icon,
Oh yeah.
and it just, one day on a tour, I was on a tour with Jaquan. He made the song "Tipsy," was a big hit, and I saw a guy who wasn't rich in Tijuana, and he had a lot of horses. And right then and there, I was living my reality and my heart. And I looked at the Mexican, and I felt him, like and he didn't look wealthy, but he looked happy.
Felt that calling, that pull.
Yeah, it was like right there in front of me. It's like, you could be with this or you could be with that. And I needed that experience. And after that tour, I made a choice easily that I wanted to pursue the horses. Didn't never own a horse, didn't know how to train a horse, didn't have a ranch, didn't have a truck, didn't have a trailer. I just believed like I could achieve it. And I went into it for peace. I went into it to help me feel like what I felt like when my grandfather drove me into Jamaica Bay. Like I never felt that feeling again. And through my journey, I realized, wow, humans can make things very complicated. When you, instead of helping, is judgmental. You got to look at someone's dedication. They love the animal more than the person that's trying. It's like, so it was a little disappointment, but this is all things I had to go to make me, for me to transition from a boy to a man, and to help me with my ego, help me with my pain. I had to learn how to digest when people dislike you. How do you digest that? So I look back now and it's like, wow, I needed that experience to be able to be where I'm at now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely that can be a very long journey as well.
Yeah.
So what do you, Brannu, what do you want the American people to take away from your story? What would you like them to learn from what you have gone through?
Be able to see people for their heart and not from a judgmental thing. Everybody don't get the same plate to create, and be more of a helper, not a destroyer. Be, when you at your job, use your discretion. Don't just follow the policy, because sometimes the policy has gray areas. That's why you go to a courtroom, right? It's because it's a gray area and you have to prove. So it's like, I think we all are capable of seeing goodness, but don't let our jealousy and enviness or whatever it is to overshadow someone's goodness and someone's passion, because not everybody has a strong spirit to overcome being looked down at for trying to pursue something that's legally for me to pursue. I brought the land. I'm here, right? My land is on AG1. It has all the elements for a horse to reside on. And not be greedy. I guess these are all like the deadly sins, right? A few of them, right? Like greed is a major thing in this world. And I'm just here to, man, pursue something that I always wanted. I want to make this place the ability that I wish I had growing up, where those who are not that fortunate can come and ride and not worry about owning a ranch or owning a saddle. Just have a place to ride. So my purpose for the land is helpful for the community. It's helpful for the neighborhood. So I think it adds value when I have, because they don't have nothing like this in this new city called the city of South Fulton. So that's all I could pretty much say, man. I'm just I just want peace, man. That's it. I just want peace.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like you really have a heart for trying to share that peace with everybody around you. And that's such a fantastic mission after such a difficult, painful journey. We wish you all the best at that. Brannu, we've had your contact information on the screen, so people know how to reach out and get in touch with you if they have any questions. Thanks for joining us on DFE News.
All right, thank you. All right.
It seems to have worked in LA and DC, but is Memphis ready to trade its blue suede shoes for combat boots? President Trump said Friday he'll send National Guard troops to crack down on crime in Memphis, which is known as one of the murder capitals of the South. Contrary to Chicago, both the mayor of Memphis and the governor of Tennessee are fully on board with the deployment. It seems the residents are in favor as well.
The youngins, they getting outrageous and ridiculous. Yeah, we need them bad. They need to hurry up and come.
Will the National Guard enjoy walking in Memphis? Looks like we'll find out soon enough. Could go for some barbecue in the meantime, though. Well, it's definitely been a week full of bad news, so everyone deserves a chance to take a break, sit back, and enjoy the game. President Trump did just that at a Yankees game. You know, they just play your song and you feel it. Those are presidential moves right there. Well, that's it for now. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, comment, and engage with us so YouTube and all the socials push it out to more viewers. If you're interested in becoming a DFE News sponsor, you can click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. Thanks for watching DFE News. News done right. See you next time.